always raised to believe that I could do anything I wanted, and no one, neither male nor female, should be allowed to tell me that I couldn't, or that I shouldn't, or any other excuse. My parents basically taught me, like, the moral of the story is, just because I am a woman does not mean that I should let a man control my life. And, women can do anything men can do, and, all that, like, girl power stuff. It's true. I mean, it's completely true. What you want to do with your life is based on what you decide to do. And, if you want to do something that's predominantly male, that doesn't mean you shouldn't or you couldn't do it. You can. It's just so funny, Your parents teach you these things. I don't know how to put this, but, like, the things that your parents teach you only go up to a certain extent. At the end of the day, you're still you. I mean, the way your parents raise you is it defines a little bit of who you are ultimately going to be. You're you. You were born you. You were created as you, And it's not until you start living life that you, and start making mistakes, that you really realize who you are, I guess. My parents always taught me all these things, but at the same time, I didn't really experience it. I don't know. Like, my dad, I love my dad. Don't get me wrong. Both my parents are fantastic parents, but my dad is a little bit old school. While he still wanted me to be a strong, independent woman and, get my own degree, get my own job, and learn how to provide for myself, so I would only have to rely on myself for the rest of my life and never have to rely on a man. Even though he wanted me to be all these things, he still believes that, men do certain things and women do certain things in their lives, I guess, is how I would say it. It's funny, so, he would tell me all these things. It was kind of like a do as I say, not as I do. I don't know. It's weird. I am who I am, and I'm very proud of who I am. The lessons my parents have taught me have been just like pretty much anyone, I think. It's kind of like goes in one ear and out the other, and it isn't until you start living your life and making mistakes that you're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. That's what they meant. They told me to avoid that. Right. They can tell you all these things, and they're trying to protect you. Ultimately, they know you're gonna make mistakes. That's why I think overprotective parents are hurting their children so much, and ultimately when these kids feel this freedom to, like, oh my gosh, I'm finally out of my parents' house, and like, it's such a rush, and from what I've seen, these kids end up doing exactly what it is that their parents feared. Exactly these things that their parents were trying to shield them of. They end up discovering it anyway. It just makes kids so resentful and angry, because as much as scary as it is to make all these mistakes, you want to make these mistakes and learn for ourselves. We don't want, when our parents lived it, we don't want to hear what our parents lived through. We want to live through it ourselves. My parents, thankfully, were... My dad I love my dad, very excellent dad, but he was definitely more on the overprotective side, especially with me. That's one of, like, the double standard kind of things. My brother definitely had a little bit more freedom than I did. My mom was the one that was always telling my dad, like, hey, you need to back off. There's a lot of things that I never wanted to experience. My terms of, the things that I have wanted to experience, I've experienced them. They are what they are. Experiencing all these things, seeing these things, especially in such a technology-heavy world that we live in now. My parents shaped me, and the rest of the world kind of finished the molding of me. I am a very strong, proud woman. I am the woman that my parents wanted me to be. I've had boyfriends and stuff. One wasn't a very good one. I learned a lot from that, and I learned the kind of person that I want to be. At the end of the day, I'm very happy with who I am. I think that's what mostly matters. I'm living the life that I want to live. Took my parents a little while to get used to it. I'm making my decisions and I'm happy, and they've both come to terms with it. Excited. I'm graduating soon, and I think my parents are a little bit terrified. They were terrified for my brother as well. I think it's just a parental thing.